Hey, what's happening, Roland? Well, today's Saturday, not Friday. I usually do my weekly update on a Friday, but that phone went dead yesterday. I was out on the Phillsmere Lake. We were catching a lot of bass, and I was real busy, and the phone went dead. So we're doing it today. Hey, but all week for the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been really touting water temperature being the key to some good fishing. And what I was saying a couple weeks ago was the rising water temperature after a cold front is the best scenario. Well, that's exactly what happened this week. My prediction of a good fishing day came true. In fact, yesterday was the best fishing day I've had in a couple of years, and I'll explain what happened. But basically, let's look at this thermometer. If you look at that temperature right there, it says that boat, side of that boat's 83 degrees. Well, that's pretty warm. Let's see what the bottom, what the ground. The ground is 78, 77. Okay, but last week I did the same thing. Last week a cold front had hit and everything was 10 or 15 degrees colder. In fact, the water temperature in the Headwaters Lake was down in the low 50s and the fish weren't biting very good. But I kept saying all week, I said, listen, as the water temperatures rise, the fishing gets a lot better. And so guess what happened yesterday was the best day that I've had in years. The water temperature was all the way up to 70. It all came to fruition, and I'll tell you about that. Okay, so starting off the week, actually, while the cold front was hitting, I was still in my shop in Naples, and I was making turkey calls. When it's real cold and the fish is not very good, I'll concentrate on these turkey calls. This is exquisite. It's all hand made, and it's a signature series that I autograph it to and personalize it to the people and talk all about where the wood comes from and everything else. $200. It's really a great deal. If you want one, $200. Judy M at Fishing with Roland Martin. That's turkey season coming up. So I've been doing that. Okay. But then I had a guide trip the other day, the first one of the week, and the guy said, listen, we don't want a shiner fish. See, I'm a shiner expert. I'll get into that in a minute. He said, we want to lure fish. How would we catch them? I said, let's take a big punching weight. Let's take a big 2-ounce weight like this one. Real heavy weight. 65-pound braid. That's a Reactions Innovation, a big beaver or otter. I guess, I don't know what that is, beaver. And that's a big 4/0 extra heavy duty worm hook, our big favorite rod. And I've built this rod really special. It's got an extended handle and some other strength to it. We're going to the hyacinth patches and big heavy mats of hydrilla. And we'd go in there, we'd shake it down, and we'd let it fall down in about 5 or 6 feet of water, shake it around, and bam, 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 4-pound bass, bam, 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 5-pound bass. We even caught one almost 7. So that was a pretty good bite. And I was a little surprised because usually on a real cold front day, I wouldn't have expected as many fish that we caught as we did. We caught a half a dozen pretty decent bass on that crowworm. Well, the other guy said, well, what else do they bite? And we talked about this the other day. A chatterbait's a real good thing. This is just the reaction. This is, see what chatterbait is. I don't know what this might be, the jackhammer series. But anyway, it's a chatterbait. And what do I know? You know, I always tell people how to do things. They say, well, how should I work it? I said, you want to throw it out there and reel it real slow because it's cold. Well, the guy didn't do that. He started ripping it along fast. Bam, he caught one. And I said, dang on, what do I know? I mean, you know, it's like he caught one on a fast retrieve. Well, then he caught a couple more on a fast retrieve. And then we slowed down and he caught a couple more. Anyway, nothing real big, but it was a chatterbait bite was happening. And that was part of the day. The big fish of the day, though, came on this worm. And it was funny because I said, if you keep throwing this this big swimming worm like this, make a long cast over top of the hydrilla patches, along the edges of the hydrilla, and just kind of reel it along. It's a swimming worm, and all of a sudden they'll hit it. If they do hit it, just reel down, anchor it, set the hook, boom. And he caught one almost 7 pounds, and it was not a bad bass. That was the first part of the week. Well, it's starting to warm up a little bit, but it's still cold. So my first guide party with the shiner was like Tuesday, and I had a bunch of shiners, but I'd been going out and catching plenty of shiners and bait, so I had a big tank full of bait. And see, I'm going to look at the boat for a second. One of the keys to good shiner fishing is having great bait and a lot of it. And I have my oxygen tank here. I have my special chemicals I put in. I put this quinaldine in the water to kind of tranquilize them, and salt to make the slime coat even better. And then we have a big live well, a big 30-gallon live well that really holds them alive. So having good bait is part of the key. So that day we caught about a 7-pound bass and a couple about 5. It was a medium kind of day. It wasn't really a trophy day. But anyway, 2 days ago, guys show up. They were repeat customers. And I'd taken them out last year, and one guy had caught a 10-pound bass, and the other guy had not caught a big fish. So I said to him, I said, Don, you hadn't caught your big one. He said, no, Matt had caught the 10.5 last year. So we made Don the designated angler. It's kind of like saltwater fishing. You'd say, okay, we shiner fishing. I'm going to fish 3 or 4 rods. Every time we get one to go down or something, it's Don rod. And so he was kind of the designated angler. And sure enough, we keep giving him rods, and bam, he catches an 8.5 pounder. Now the water temperature had come up. That second day, you know, we started looking at the water temperature, and instead of being in the low 50s, it's now in the mid 60s. It's just 2 days ago, it was like 64 degrees, and it really come up. I said, this is 10 degrees warmer. Now there's 8.5 pound bass biting. Well, we had this good scale. And when he caught that 8.5, I get my scale going, and I get it's called a Florida trophy catch. And we get a big certificate from the state. It's sent to you, and also a big gift certificate from Bass Pro Shop worth about $100. And you need to get photographs of the fish on the scale, and we do all that. So that was a big trophy deal. Well, yesterday I get up. Now all week I've been talking about rising water temperature. Now yesterday it's warm. Water temperature is way up in the high 60s. I have 120 shiners in the boat. I said, this is probably going to be enough shiners. 120 shiners. We start off fishing yesterday, and all of a sudden, I mean, we're fishing 3 and 4, 5 rods, and we're getting 2 rods down to 1 rod. There's a 6-pound bass and a 5-pound bass. Man, these things are catching. Bam! The other boy catches one almost 9 pounds. The boy that caught the 10-pounder last year, he caught one almost 10 yesterday. This is before noon. We run out of shiners. We're fishing 3 and 4 rods. We run out of shiners by noon. We've gone through 120 bait, and we've gotten bites on every single one of them. Well, I have my net. I got my big cast net, a big 10-foot cast net. You see me throw it. I'm real good with that. I had plenty of bait. So at noon, I go out there. We catch another 100 shiners. Okay, we tell you 100 shiners. Now I just want to tell you something. I came back to that little channel where we were fishing, and one of the ways I catch them, there's a couple ways to catch shiners, and I'm an expert at doing all kind of ways. One way is free lining, and I took this little rod, this little spinning rod, and it's really, really effective. It's got a 20-pound test braid. This is only a 17-pound fluorocarbon leader, and a little bitty 2 or 3 aught hook. It's hardly any size. And what I'd do, let me just show you what happened. I'd throw that shiner out in the channel. Come over here to look at this thing. Look at this. Look at what happened. I got some video right here. Uh-oh. What happened to my video? Oh, hey, there it is. Okay, let's see. I get my video up. I gotta get my here. Get this thing here up. Let's see. Right there. Okay, there's all these things happening. All these fish being caught. Come right over here. Look at this guy. Look at this. He's ready to land it. See, he's just getting it out of the net now. Oh, look at that guy. Look at that thing. Oh, that's an 8-pounder. I catch on that little spinning rod, and that's a huge bass. And that boy had just caught that one almost 9. Anyway, at the same time, we'll catch another 5 and 6 pound bass, and that's just a little bitty. That's just a little bitty spinning rod, and I caught another 7-pounder, another 6-pounder, another. It was just fishing was just fantastic. I just want to tell you, folks, that yesterday we went through those 100 shiners that we caught at noon, and in 3 hours we're out of bait. By 4 o'clock we were all out of bait, and we had no more shiners. And we'd gone through 220 shiners, and not only did we get bit on every single shiner we threw out there, but sometimes we would catch 2 bass, or at least have 2 strikes on the single shiner because we'd still be alive and we'd put it back on the hook again. So we had over 220, we hit probably 240 bass to bite, caught 85 bass, 23 of them were over 5 pounds. A couple of them were over 8, several of them were over 7. It was the best day that I've had in years. And it's all because of the rising water temperature that I've been talking about and preaching about. It's the best case scenario. Having super good bait, having the right weather conditions, rising water temperature, the right tackle, in a lake like the Headwaters Pond, and boy, you're gonna have a trip of a lifetime. And these boys had the trip of a lifetime. It's the best fishing trip I've had in just forever almost. So anyway, that's what can happen when everything lines up just the right way. And so I hope I've told you a few things, or a few good pointers on how you can catch more and better fish. We really appreciate you watching these YouTubes, and thanks again for watching.